Casting is unquestionably one of the most important aspects of a movie, and it's important that the filmmakers find the best actors for each role. One bad fit can completely derail a project and prevent it from being a massive hit. This is why directors typically audition thousands of thespians for important parts, poring over hours of screen tests before making a final decision. But sometimes, everyone knows there's only one real choice for the character, and an actor is offered the part without having to try out first. Here are 10 actors who didn't have to audition for a major role.
You're close. Give them to me, now.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. It seems like Arnold was born to play the Terminator.
I'll be back.
But originally, the producers on the sci-fi film envisioned him as Kyle Reese. Director James Cameron met with Schwarzenegger to discuss the part, and during their conversation, he felt Arnold would make the perfect Terminator. Schwarzenegger was dubious about the project's prospects, but agreed to star in it, feeling that it was too small to damage his career if it flopped. Of course, the T-800 went on to become one of the most intimidating villains in all of cinema, turning Schwarzenegger into an action icon and establishing Cameron as one of Hollywood's elite. Credit Cameron's eye for talent, because the Terminator could have turned out very different. Simon Pegg. Rebooting Star Trek and recasting the legendary characters of the Enterprise crew was a daunting task, and J.J. Abrams had to make sure he got it all right, or else the franchise relaunch would be doomed. Some parts were easier to find than others. Simon Pegg, who had previously worked with Abrams on Mission Impossible 3, was offered Scotty without having to read for it. Abrams simply emailed his friend asking if he'd like to play the ship's chief engineer, and Pegg happily accepted. The actor said he would have taken a role for free, or even paid Abrams himself in order to be involved. Pegg co-wrote this summer's Star Trek Beyond, so he's proven to be a valuable addition to the franchise. Jonah Hill. When Jonah Hill signed on to play Donnie in Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street, he took a minimum salary to work with the legendary filmmaker. But that wasn't the only thing Hill did differently. He insisted that he audition for the role, even though Scorsese felt it wasn't necessary. It was Hill's first audition since 2007, which means that he didn't have to try out for the first film that netted him an Oscar nomination, 2011's Moneyball. Director Bennett Miller took a chance on Hill, who is known more for his comedic characters, but Hill was great in the drama and launched a new phase of his career. Harrison Ford. For many people, Harrison Ford is Han Solo, but it was by a stroke of luck the actor even got the part. Initially, George Lucas was hesitant to cast Ford in Star Wars, since Ford had appeared in the director's earlier movie, American Graffiti. Instead, Ford helped with the audition process, reading with young hopefuls trying out for Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia. During these reads, Ford would typically play Han, and Lucas eventually realized that he was the only choice for the smuggler. 4 movies and 4 decades of adoration later, Ford is synonymous with the character, and Alden Ehrenreich has huge shoes to fill. Sylvester Stallone. Sly refused to sell the rights to the original Rocky to producers Robert Chartoff and Irwin Winkler unless he was allowed to play the star as the Italian Stallion. They agreed, but ran into a speed bump when shopping the film around. United Artists originally approved a budget of $2 million, under the condition an established star play Rocky, but after hearing it was Stallone or nothing, they cut the budget in half. Still, they were willing to give the then untested Stallone his shot at the big time, and it paid off very handsomely for the studio. Rocky won Best Picture, while Stallone scored a Best Actor nomination. Sean Connery. Given that Indiana Jones was heavily inspired by James Bond, it shouldn't come as any surprise that the original 007, Sean Connery, was cast as the archaeologist's father for The Last Crusade. In fact, Connery was Steven Spielberg's first and only choice for the role. The director was so set on getting Connery, he disregarded all the suggestions from his casting director and offered the role to the actor himself. Much to Spielberg's pleasant surprise, Connery accepted and became an instant fan favorite as Henry Jones. Connery's chemistry with Harrison Ford was one of The Last Crusade's many strong points and helped end the original trilogy on a high note. J.K. Simmons. Winning an Oscar is a monumental achievement for an actor. It can change their career in drastic ways. J.K. Simmons learned this after he received a bevy of awards for Whiplash. Now that he had Academy Award winner attached to his name, directors sought him out for roles, not the other way around. One of the first movies Simmons signed on for following Whiplash was this year's The Accountant, a crime drama from director Gavin O'Connor. Simmons met with the filmmaker over lunch to discuss a role, and the part was his if he wanted it. In the afterglow of his accolades, Simmons doesn't have to audition anymore.
Mr. Potter.
Alan Rickman. Finding the main 3 heroes for the Harry Potter franchise was a long and grueling process, as thousands upon thousands of child actors were auditioned. Casting some of the supporting roles was a tad easier. None other than J.K. Rowling handpicked the late great Alan Rickman to bring Severus Snape to life, and gave him special instructions to help his portrayal. The author even confided in Rickman critical backstory elements that the general public wouldn't know about until The Deathly Hallows was published. Snape went on to become one of Rickman's defining roles, so it's clear that Rowling could easily make it as a Hollywood casting director, if she wanted. Margot Robbie. When the Suicide Squad movie was announced, DC fans flocked to the internet to offer their dream casting choices. For the crazy and lovely Harley Quinn, the consensus pick was bombshell Margot Robbie, who exploded onto the scene in The Wolf of Wall Street. Suicide Squad director David Ayer definitely saw eye to eye with filmgoers, and the role was offered to Robbie. The actress did not have to submit a demo reel or audition tape. All she had to do was say yes, and it's a good thing she did. Robbie was one of the best parts of Suicide Squad, and should have a successful future in the DCEU. Eddie Redmayne. This Oscar winner may have blown his chance to play the new Star Wars villain Kylo Ren, but he eventually landed a coveted role in a massive Hollywood blockbuster franchise. Redmayne stars as Newt Scamander in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which kicks off a series of 5 feature films. Harry Potter creator J.K. Rowling penned the script, and she knew exactly who she wanted as Newt. Redmayne was the first and only choice for the role, and the actor didn't have to audition. He was even involved in the casting process for the supporting roles, helping leave his mark on the wizarding world.
Bravo.
Those are just some of the actors who didn't have to audition to land major roles. Which ones did we miss? Sound off in the comments section, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.